Hi, this is Brian Stillman with BeTerrific. We're at NAB 2019 here at the Jacob Javits Center in New York City. I am with Dave Walton. He's from JVC. He's here to talk about some pretty cool cameras. This is the Connected Cam. It is a camera with streaming capability. Dave, thank you for being on our show today.
Well, thank you for having me.
Tell me a little bit about this camera.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about JVC, because we've been building streaming cameras now since 2003.
2003.
And that's before most people knew what streaming meant.
Right. And where were you streaming to at that point?
Well, that was the problem.
Right.
They did not have a great deal of success, because even though we were able to stream to Wi-Fi, through Wi-Fi, but people were asking, what's Wi-Fi? You know, right. Can I hook it up to my plain old analog telephone line? Well, no, they couldn't. But we had a product about the same size as this. It was called Stream Quarter. We trademarked that. And aside from being able to do live streaming, it was a pretty good camera. So the camera was successful. The streaming part was a little bit ahead of its time.
Right.
So what we've done since then is beginning roughly in 2011, we started coming out with cameras that had encoders built into them that could create live streams. And they had an especially strong appeal to the broadcast market, because broadcasters were looking for more cost-effective ways of getting backhaul to the station than to simply use microwave or satellite.
Well, and that's something, we mentioned earlier. I used to have a news background running around New York City. We get the footage, we do the story, then we have to rush back to the editing suite, cut the story, get it out on time. It seems like the ability to stream from out in the field is really something that becomes a time saver, increases efficiency, gets the news out there faster.
Well, the first cameras that we came out with in 2011 would do auto FTP. That means that you could easily FTP your files from the camera back to the station. But since then, we've added the ability to create live streams, and we've put some pretty robust error correction in, known as Zixi. It's a very, very high QoS system that gives you, you can have incredible amounts of packet loss and still get reliable streams.
Right.
And then adding bonded cellular to all that, we've come up with a very, very robust system that we call Connected Cam. And a whole line of products, starting with our GY HC900, which is a 2/3 inch 3-chip broadcast camera for news gathering. Then we have the 500 series, the HC500 and HC550, which are 4K 1-inch imager cameras that have this Connected Cam capability. And then finally down to the low end, the GY HM250, which is really a trio of products. The standard 250, which I'm holding here, the 250 SP, which is our sports production version, and then the House of Worship version, which is the HW version.
So let me take a quick look at this camera. I mean,
Sure.
Most of the people at BeTerrific know me as being on the other side of the camera. I'm one of the cameramen here, among other things, besides being a producer. I mean, this is, at first blush, except for the giant antenna on the back, this does not feel to me like any other camera I might use. It's comfortable,
Except you might notice the word live on the viewfinder here.
If you look, like he says, it says live on the viewfinder. So let me just switch hands here for a second. So I'm used to shooting on a whole variety of cameras, but this feels comfortable. It doesn't feel like the tech is getting in the way at all. What's going on in this camera? What am I sort of dealing with here?
Well, we're not recording because I didn't hit the record button, but I could be. But we are streaming, and that we're generating a live stream that is going out and going to a Facebook page. Now, the question is, how do you pair it to Facebook? This is the industry's first camera that pairs as easily as a cell phone to your Facebook account. Basically, once you set it up ahead of time to a Facebook page, Now the camera is paired. When you turn the camera on and you hit the live stream button, you go live onto your Facebook page.
So that's, we do a lot of live streaming here. We use live view packs. They go back to our base in Secaucus, New Jersey, and then we send it out. But here, everything is in this one camera. Like you say, you can go direct to your Facebook Live account, which is not something I've ever seen before. Who do you see taking advantage of this technology? Who are you gearing this towards?
Well, there's a lot of applications, and that's why we came out with 3 different versions of the camera.
Sure.
One of our most popular applications is in live sports. The SP version of the camera is able to accept scores from the stadium scoreboard, which is kind of interesting. There's about 25 different brands of scoreboard controllers, but we have an interface called the Score Hub that you use. It's an intermediate interface, connect wirelessly, and it connects to your scoreboard controller. So the camera itself wirelessly connects to Score Hub, receives the score input, and then generates the graphic data in the lower third of the screen, which gives you the score, the clock, the flags, all that.
Home is seeing everything they would see when they watch broadcast sports. They're seeing all that information. They're seeing the score, the time, whatever information is being given to the jumbotron in the stadium. That's automatically going into this camera and then being broadcast out to your audience. So high school sports, people who can't necessarily afford high-end equipment, cameramen, all the rigging that goes into it, their AV club could take this and cover their sporting events and send a professional-looking broadcast straight out to the audience.
Well, not only that, but one of the other applications that we've found in the sports market is that the coaches then demand copies, because we can record on 2 memory cards while we're streaming, so we can make 2 copies in HD as we're streaming, and then give that copy to the coach. And then now they have a version of the game that's got the game clock, the quarters, everything on the screen.
Well, what I think a lot of audience members might not realize is the amount of time that saves to not have to have someone operating lower thirds and all that graphical data on the fly. You save on staff. You save on technical know-how, things that people might not have access to, whether it's a high school sporting event, maybe it's a local youth league or whatever. All that's in the camera. It's happening live. That's pretty incredible.
Well, the other version, I mentioned the House of Worship.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask, what data is that pulling in?
Basically, it is a version of the camera that generates lower third graphics, but some of the icons and graphics have a religious theme.
Sure.
So the churches who buy this camera, they're already set up now to create lower third graphics. And again, one of the problems you have in a lot of small churches is the lack of equipment and lack of volunteers.
Right.
You need to have the thing programmed ahead of time. You need to be able to expect somebody with literally no training to come in, point the camera, and start the stream and record and the graphics all together.
And now, does that work across churches, temples, mosques, the whole whatever, the whole religious gamut?
Yeah, and you can add your own graphics as well.
Very cool.
And then we have the generic version, which is just wide open. We have an app online you can download, create your own graphics, and do lower third graphics.
So you can still create lower thirds.
Sure.
Download them to the camera so they're in there. So as a camera operator, you can just send this information out along with, so if you're covering your friend's wedding, you can have the bride's name, the groom's name, the officiant's name, and as you're filming it, boom, insert that info so you don't have to do it later.
Yeah, I wasn't that aggressive when I shot my daughter's wedding out at Lake Tahoe. It was snowing on the beach of Lake Tahoe, and I had the camera out there. I was streaming live, and everybody thought it was kind of weird that I'm there, the father of the bride, with a JVC camera, but the audio was very good, had a wireless mic on the minister, and it never hit them until later that night at dinner when we were sitting at the restaurant, and then the groom's mother starts getting text messages from Boston
Right.
from her sister in Boston, and they're pictures of the wedding. And people say, how did she get those? Well, those are screen grabs from the live
Yep.
stream that I was doing with that crazy little camera.
And that's the thing. We are in a world now where we want this data out there as fast as possible. You know, we have our cell phones. We have all these tools to do that, but this ups the game. I want to thank you for coming on and showing us this camera. What does a camera like this retail for?
It's around $2,500 before discounts.
And it's full function camera. I'm looking at it. It's got a great lens. It's got, you know, let's
4K.
see, it's it's 4K. We're looking at 1.2 to 3.5. You know, speed. It's a great machine. Thank you for coming on. My hands are full, but here, you take. Let's shake hands. Then you take your camera back so I don't walk off with it. This is Brian Stillman. I'm with BeTerrific. We are at NAB 2019. We're going to continue to bring you coverage of all sorts of cool equipment, just like JVC's Connect Camera. Am I getting that right?
Connected Cam. And if you're on Facebook, go to the JVC Professional page, and you can watch the live stream from this camera.
We're streaming out from JVC. And you can come to NAB and check out JVC's booth. Stick around. We've got more coverage coming your way.